So anyway, so I'm speaking to the Mormons, and this is the first time that I have a Jewish version, a Jewish interpretation of this, right? And basically, like, in the middle of the night, I wake up and I felt like a giant. I felt strong and empowered. I felt utterly different. I felt like a giant, like literally, like I felt like a giant. Like I walked from where I was sleeping, which was like a corner in the room, like scared, because of all this vibrating and all this stuff, and what I felt was persecution. And walking into the kitchen, which was probably like, I don't know, like 3 meters, 4 meters from one space to the other, and just feeling like a giant walking through the community, through an old community, an ancient community. And it was empowering, and I went back to bed, and for like a minute I wasn't scared. So this is what was happening during that time, while I was obsessing with this woman, just sort of soothing my soul with this. Yeah. So that was the introduction to the twin flame. I mean, who I believe to be my twin flame. And well, after that, I left there because I was just feeling paranoid and uncomfortable. And I went to another state. I traveled around a bit, and I wound up coming back. And when I did, all this was like during COVID. I think I came back at the end of COVID, and all this stuff was still happening. There was a lot happening, and I remember that I was on a train. I was on the Amtrak. This is one of my favorite ways to travel because I travel around a lot. I travel around the United States a lot, and I've lived in a lot of different communities and stuff. And since this has started happening, like, I've really began to appreciate our similarities more than our differences. I was always like really quick to like sort of see differences in people, but now I see more the unity, the oneness, how we all are. I think I've always strived to see it, but now I really see it. I really understand it. And it's a lot easier to have patience and compassion and love with people that way. Like what you see, what you have in common, as opposed to what we have in difference. But anyway, so I came back and I moved into an apartment out in like the boondocks, basically almost like it's like the suburbs of Seattle, like so I'm like 30-40 miles from there. And this sensation is still happening. And on the way up there, I had met someone on a train, and they told me that what did they tell me? They told me that they had also like had all these like moments of persecution and stuff like that. And I realized that a lot of people, especially like when they're cognizant and they're having linear speaking and linear like conversations and everything, even though everything and everyone plays a role in God's kingdom. And it's just like, but like these people are not, they're not even, they're it's not schizophrenia. Like, you're having a spiritual awakening. If the universe is beginning to speak to you and you don't know that it's doing that, you're having a spiritual awakening. But you're going to experience that possibly as paranoia, at first. So anyway, but I met this woman, and she turned me on to the idea of like, what was it, like alternative dues, direct energy weapons, right? And so I got this this idea now, direct energy weapons, like something that is not that, oh, like I'm definitely being persecuted now, truly scared. And just sort of going around trying to find answers and figure out what was behind all this and everything. So I come back to Everett, and Everett, Washington. I'm like not, just still experiencing the vibrating feelings of persecution, or actual like people were like yelling things out at me and stuff like that at my house and everything, quote unquote. But that's not what it is. What it actually was is coming alive in the consciousness of God, where the universe are speaking to you. It's an aspect of him that's speaking to you. And once you see the unity and the oneness, you can actually have a dialogue with this sort of thing, or understand exactly what it is that it's telling you, what direction it's pointing you in. And the clearer your lens, the more you see the positive, the light, the light in these things, the the more you're gonna allow yourself to be refined, the more enlightened, the more happier, the more peaceful you'll be. The more you'll appreciate other human beings and your human experience. I think, and the journey too, and it allows you to sort of even take a step back and see it in a broader sense. And the role one plays in people, in humanity, in our current time, and possibly even in a broader sense. Depending on your own personal purpose. I mean, yeah, and depending on your own purpose.